BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. I'm joined today by my friend Monte Clark. Monte, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, man. You're my hero. I appreciate you having me on your show. That's fun.
Man, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Remind me, you're from Kansas City, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So just let it be known to the whole world that Raiders fans can be nice. The Chiefs fans, and I have red all over my graphics here too, which is really
I know,
funny.
man. You look more like a Chiefs fan today, more than well. You got black.
I got silver and black in my logo. And in full disclosure, my dad's side of the family's from Kansas City, so we actually have plenty of Kansas City fans.
So you're like a mixed breed over there.
Not here. Don't get it twisted. There's no love or sympathy. I was rooting against you guys in the Super Bowl, so
it was effective.
Did I just tell you before we even get started? That was really tough for me. I had the choice between Tom the Tuck Brady and Kansas City, but
I know
I had to go for the Bucks. But that was one of those. If it was possible to have both teams lose and end in a tie, I would have voted for that. That's not possible in the Super Bowl. So somebody was going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Brady seems to beat pretty much everybody, I guess, because
he just doesn't age, does he? I mean, like he just signed, I think, for four more years.
Yeah, I know. It's really crazy.
It is crazy, but anyways, I kind of feel bad for Mahomes, but I think Mahomes is awesome. I mean, I'm not trying to be like a sycophant, obviously, for the Chiefs, but he's really good, and I think that you guys got a hell of a shot each and every year for the next decade. So
it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle the team going forward, and and bringing in. I think one of the reasons why Brady has been so good all these years is they have put a focus on keeping a really solid front line.
Yeah,
with him, he never takes a lot of hits.
Yep.
I think that's kind of the key thing for quarterbacks and their longevity. So we'll see what the Chiefs do with that.
We'll see. Interesting, and this ties into marketing. They signed Mahomes for a 10-year, $450 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, I hear he just restructured to help with some cap relief, but that's typically the problem in these really good teams is, if you get a quarterback that is like a Mahomes type talent, which not many have, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's say the elites, the hard part always is being able to afford the rest. It's not a free cap market where you can spend what you want. It's a cap system. So,
how'd you like to be Clark Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, putting a $500 million deal together right before COVID hits, right? and then you can't even put a butt in a seat. That's just got to be like, what in the world do we have to do? But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, that whole thing. I was actually wondering what they were going to do, and I don't know how interested our audience is in sports marketing, but I was interested in how it was going to affect the cap, because if you understand the science of how they come up with the cap number, it actually should be lower. They gave it a bump because they realized, with the audience attendance being so short. But I think people are so hungry for the NFL. Next year's numbers are, assuming there's no restrictions. I think everybody's going to go through there.
Well, Mahomes just restructured his deal too. They just went through and
right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's obviously smart, right? Like the one thing. And he and Brady talk. Like Brady could tell him, like, look, he's always had a team-friendly deal, because you got to have somebody to throw the ball to. You got to have somebody to block for you. To your point, you got to have somebody to run the ball. I mean, it takes, and then the defense. Like my team, the Raiders, we had a great offense. We were, frankly, just as dynamic as the Chiefs on offense.
You were. You guys were phenomenal this year.
We couldn't stop anybody on the other side of the ball, so we'd score 30 and give up 35, and you still lose the game. So
it's you got Chucky out there though, so.
Yeah, we got a decent offense. We got a good coach. We hired a new coordinator. We'll see how he does, but from San Diego, so we'll see.
I think you guys are going to be equally as good, honestly.
Well, the thing that we mess up still, and it's funny because we've been playing for draft picks. It's like, okay, so great, but then we waste them on people that you've never heard of. Like if they would just take the person that everybody's saying they should take, maybe we'd have a better shot. It's funny
try to get smart.
When they traded Khalil Mack, and then they did the picks, Gruden was in a press conference and he was saying, "Well, but we wouldn't if we kept Khalil, paid the money, we wouldn't have." And then he named off 4 players. Guess what? 4 of those players are gone now.
Yeah.
So it's like, we probably still have Khalil Mack, and we probably would be able to get a sack or at least a hit on a quarterback every once in a while. Hey, whatever. What am I? I'm a media marketing nerd. Let's get into this, because this is what my audience is here for. So you're Monte Clark. If people aren't familiar with you, I'm gonna bring up your profile here on LinkedIn just so that they can see you. And then what I want to do, if you can, maybe just give us like a couple minutes. It doesn't have to be real brief.
Yeah.
How did you get into marketing? And maybe a little bit about your resume. Like I said, I'm gonna pull up your LinkedIn profile here so we can all see. And I just got to share my screen. And I have to talk when I do this stuff, otherwise I mess up. So
no worries. No worries.
So, and then while you're telling us about you, Monte, I'm gonna put your link in the comments for everybody. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I started in marketing 28 years ago. I actually started as a graphic designer, so I'm a graphic designer by trade. That was my passion for years. But in doing graphic design for companies, it was mostly on a project-to-project basis. I wound up starting to do projects, that involved more marketing elements. People ask me, okay, well, can you do this? Can you do that? It moved into graphic design for print projects and stuff, into websites, and then from websites into search engine optimization and e-commerce, and it just kind of evolved from there. But
and by the way, for anybody who hasn't seen, Monte has phenomenal graphics. Like if you look, you don't have to tell me that you're a graphics guy, because I was actually doing a review of your stuff for the show, and I was like, God, he is good. You know what I mean? So I think so far of all the people I brought on, you're the best graphic designer. I'm gonna say even better than me, and I've been doing it a long time too. So a tip of the cap.
I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much.
I got to put the cap on so I can tip it.
Very nice, very nice. Yes. So yeah, it's been a passion of mine. I've just kind of always continued to hold on to that. But 2 years ago, I decided, in my experience, for most companies, and I was VP of marketing for a local company here in Kansas City called QGC. They were, we would talk to different marketing companies and advertising agencies and stuff. And marketing is always somewhat of a revolving door, right? You companies will bring a marketing company in to focus on something specific or to take over a whole program, if you would. Work with them for a year, not get the kind of results that they want, and they'll be looking for somebody else. So a couple of years ago, I decided, I just want to start working on something that I can do myself, that I can make work for myself, and then be able to give that to other people or transfer that to somebody else to be able to do themselves. So I started on LinkedIn and developed really kind of a passion for doing LinkedIn. And I found my sweet spot, if you would. It's I really enjoy the platform. Have figured out how to not only create your own trust, expertise, and authority with your brand, but also how to do sales. So now I primarily just work with both clients and companies, I should say individuals and companies, to help them do just that, create their trust, expertise, and authority, and then we'll manage through their account with them and help them do their sales. So
I look really good right here.
Yeah, you would. In fact, that's usually what I do with clients is I just take their head and put it on there.
just remove my head and I look better. Sorry, man. Okay, so this is MonteClark.com. I'm gonna put this in the comments too for y'all. Yeah, this is what I like to do, bro. It's a giant Monte Fest today. We'll let the world know who you are and how to find you. So if you're watching and you want to learn more about Monte, obviously go to MonteClark.com and we got your business page. We're going to talk about your business here in a second. But
awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And by the way, we're broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So wherever you're coming to us from, let us know where you're coming to us from. If you have a comment, a question or a comment, by all means, we've got Michelle already in and Anger already in, and I'm in. If you want to engage with us, we will take questions later on in the show. The first people to get the questions in will be the ones we get to first. So kind of like first in, first out, FIFO. You got a guy who's got a lot of graphic design experience. You got a guy who's been in marketing for a long time. You got a guy who can't pick a football team to save his life. So you can ask him about any of those things, and I'm sure we'll have some fun along the way. All right, Monte. So, biggest challenge of your journey, not how you're helping your customers and all that stuff. We'll get into that in a minute, but just getting from graphic designer to marketing. I'm gonna say guru, but I got to fire you a little bit. You got all that wonderful hair. How do you keep that hair, bro?
Well,
you can send me those on the side though.
It's a lot of gel. Yeah, it's a lot of gel, but it's a
but you don't have any holes. Like I was looking at a picture. In fact, I'll find it and I'll put it up later. I called it California Dream, and I was standing in front of a Photoshop Ferrari. It wasn't. So I take the Ferrari, I take the graphic, I put it all together because I like to have fun in Photoshop. Yeah, so anyways, I was doing that, and I noticed in that picture, this was like 3 years ago, my forehead was like halfway up. You know what I mean? I was like, it's time to lose it because there was no amount of gel I got green hair that was going to save that. It's easier, and you know what? You'll appreciate this background removal when I'm making my PNGs.
Man,
a lot easier when the guy's bald. So
huge benefits. Yeah. There's guys that look good bald, and there's guys that wouldn't. I'm one of those guys that I'm thankful that I have the hair because my mug just wouldn't look good. You're one of those guys that looks fantastic.
You got to have a round head. And I saw one. I know this is way off topic, and I'm going to piss off everybody that's watching. We want marketing tips, Ira, but if you know me, you know that this is the crap that I do all the time. I get sidetracked. But I see some where they have like their wrinkles or something, and it's not just like it's not like a stress line. It's like up and down. And like, man, I don't know. There's got to be something better than that. Maybe put on a cap. I wear my beanie all the time. I know you have no sympathy for me because where you live, it does get cold. But here at like 50 degrees, I gotta have this thing on.
See, and that's the other thing. You look good with a beanie too.
I can do this. What's funny? Okay, so I wore a 3-piece suit. I don't usually wear 3-piece suits. In fact, I think this was my first actual 3-piece suit that I owned. Actually, I'm thinking back. I don't remember ever having the vest. So I bought one. My wife did my alterations because she can sew, which is awesome. So I had it on for church yesterday because I still wear a suit to church.
Very nice.
I put my beanie on. And my wife goes, "Take that off." She was not excited about the beanie.
Not church worthy, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of snobs. I did take some pictures. You and I were talking about that. Some of them are actually out of focus, which is fantastic. So if you want to see pictures of Ira in this 3-piece suit, check out my Instagram page later today. I'll have some up.
I will be.
That's one thing I told my wife. I can't. It's funny. In the line of work that we are, you'll appreciate this. You can't just put something on Instagram because people are judging you by every photo you do. It's like, oh, well, you do this for a living. It's got to be like, I got to take it into Lightroom, and then I might take it into Photoshop, and gee, you can't just take it on my phone.
Yeah,
you can't just take it on my phone and put it up like the rest of you. The cost of being a photographer.
That's right.
Yeah, brother. Well, maybe with your Sony you can. Maybe you're good enough, but me with my Canon, I got to do some work.
Oh no! I always take an extreme amount of photoshopping.
It's amazing what you can do in Lightroom. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, I could change every aspect of that photo. I was thinking about maybe doing some TikTok. Somebody said, and this maybe we can talk about this later. We can talk about it now, but one of the strategies for TikToks for guys like us is we could do like little tutorial videos.
Yep.
And so just go, okay, this is a series on Lightroom, and then have like 10 parts. Part 1 is, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking about doing that. Have you done anything with TikTok?
No, to be honest with you, I haven't. I try and get very focused on. Sorry, my notifications on my.
You're a busy guy.
My text message are gonna drive us nuts.
Is it your mom saying, "I can't believe you're on TV"?
Yeah, how'd you get that?
I get that from my mom sometimes. My mom does watch my shows, so she'll come on sometimes. She'll just start blowing up the feed. And I'm like, Mom.
Yeah, but we for TikTok, I usually just primarily go where I feel like my audience is the most. Yeah. And I spend so much time on LinkedIn, not only for clients but for myself and what I do.
It's where we want to be anyway.
Yeah, that's the kind of the fun, cool stuff, the place where I go when I'm just gonna blow off, 15, 30 minutes. But
you and I get along so well because we have the same mindset with LinkedIn too. It's like, I'm not interested in fake nothing. Like, I'm actually here to have a real conversation with you. So
yeah,
that's what I like about you. When I see your stuff, which I don't see enough of, by the way, I'm gonna have to start chasing you down.
It's stinking LinkedIn, man. I mean, how they work their algorithm.
I gotta figure out a better way to do it. Oh, Les is coming to us from Nebraska, so she might be a Kansas City Chiefs fan too. Don't tell me, Les. Don't ruin it for me. Let's just pretend. Well, Nebraska goes both ways. Sometimes Nebraska is more into the team we can both hate together.
True. Yeah. Nebraska is like Iowa. They in terms of football and stuff. You get to pick who you want to go, and you have multiple options.
Yeah, well, unless you're talking about college, and of course.
Yeah, of course, but yeah, Iowa doesn't. Well, Iowa football does good every now and then too. So
yeah, it's like every 7 or 8 years they have like an 11-win season. You're like, where did that come from?
I know.
They're all seniors. That's why
it's an anomaly of farm kids that they raised up to, finally hit their senior year.
We were talking about linemen earlier. That's the team that seriously, if you just had to pick one team for linemen, like they're pretty consistent.
Oh yeah.
So those farm kids lifting those bales of hay all summer for.
That's right.
It's true, man.
I'm telling you, that's where the real strength comes. Those guys that don't look like
it's not from the gym. Yeah,
they're not all Herculean up, but they're just, you couldn't push them over with a bulldozer. I mean, they're.
Well, that's part of it too. Like, I don't think people think about that. It's not just the muscles; it's also the balance and the strength. I mean, these guys are twisting and pulling and throwing. They learn really good core balance, and that's. You can be top heavy and not used to somebody pushing on you, but When you're
That's why
throwing
Nebraska and Iowa are always like the best in wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. It's the same idea. It's 100% the same. That's actually my sport, by the way. I grew up with.
Is it really?
Yeah. So
did you wrestle through college?
So I didn't wrestle through college. I wrestled through high school. I was going to go to Cal Poly, which is a wrestling school, and that was my intention, was to wrestle. But I was a music major, so I started college back in 1995. And in 1994, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, the music building burnt down. There was a fire. So they had to rebuild the building. They said it's not going to be ready for a couple of years. And they were going to do music in tents. And I was like, well, how are we going to do that? Like, if I'm playing the piano and singing a song and I'm next to a violinist who's playing, or a trumpet player, a tent isn't going to, you can't have soundproof tents. So I just didn't, in my mind, I couldn't figure out how that was really going to be practical. So I ended up going to San Jose State instead. Now, San Jose State had a great music program. It was my second choice. But the problem was they didn't have a wrestling team.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you look at their judo team is where all our United States Olympians come from.
Really? So, they actually had a judo team at the
high school. So a judo team instead of wrestling. And the problem was I wasn't really interested in judo. I did judo as a kid, but I didn't really, it's not the full thing. And I wasn't going to get a scholarship for judo because I didn't have the experience that those guys had, right?
Sure.
So I ended up not doing wrestling in college, but that's only because, like I said, the music building broke down. And then what's funny is a couple years into college, I was like, what am I going to do with a music degree, Monty? I don't want to be a music teacher. So I ended up switching to business anyways. I could have went to Cal Poly for business. Would have been
so let me ask you this, though. Did you go into music in school because your parents wanted you to?
No, I love music.
You picked it? You wanted to do it?
I love music, yeah. So I played the drums. I got into
see. There you go.
Yeah, I got into drumming in the 6th grade. My sister is a couple years older than me. She played the snare drum in the middle school band in 8th grade. And I was like, that's freaking cool. Who would want to do that? So I started doing that. And I'd always liked to sing, but I'd never been like in a choir or whatever. But then I started in choir and actually found out that I like to sing even more than I like to play. Now, I did both through my whole college career. So I sang in the choirs and I played in the bands, right? So, music really is a passion of mine. But I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So you don't really need a degree unless you want to be a teacher, because you can either perform or you cannot.
That's true.
What I mean? It's like you come audition. So like I'm leading music in my church on Sunday night next week. You know what I mean? I'll be up there waving my hands and
So I run sound at church.
Yeah, I do too. So I run sound. Well, most of the time, actually, now I'm on the audio. I do the screens and social media. So the way our booth is split up, there's the soundboard guy, and then there's the audio, or I'm sorry, the visual guy. So I set up the live streams, run the cameras, add the scriptures, and change the words to the song. That's my primary role. But our department has grown. So I'm kind of excited. So for like the last 4 or 5 months, I've been doing that nonstop. We have a schedule now, Monty. We are high. We are official. So I have the month of March during Sunday off. I still do it Wednesday nights. But
wow.
I get to sit with my wife, which that's like rare when you run, because you got to be in the back in the perch.
Yeah. I do 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So we're
So I've been doing it so much, but you know what it is when you're sitting in the seat. That's when everything goes wrong. Right, man.
It totally is.
I should be back
every time I sit in that seat.
I should be back there doing it like the poor guy running it this last week. Like every eyeball in the church was probably on him, because they put most people don't use the hymnals anymore. It's the words are up on the screen.
Yeah.
If you don't have the words up there, you are evil. People are looking at you, and he was struggling a little bit. Let's just say. So,
are you using Pro Presenter?
We are using OBS. So we have OBS. And then I like OBS.
Dude, that's.
Well, we have different. We are fancy, bro. We have different cameras.
Yeah.
So we swap. We have an interesting setup, because our church is elongated, so it's kind of narrow, but it's like long.
Yeah.
So the way the cameras are set up, we can't necessarily get the whole stage in one shot. So we have different cameras set up. So I go back and forth. I have, I think, 11 different setups that we oscillate. So what I like about OBS is you can have what's live,
Yep.
and then you
Yep.
have a preview screen for what you're going to switch to or transition.
Yep.
To. So, and I can make the changes to the cameras, like I can zoom in and out.
Yep.
In the different mode. So again, this is probably stuff most people aren't really interested in, but it is funny how much we have in common, really.
You know, I really do. That's amazing.
Other than the fact that, again, you like the Chiefs. And what is funny is I went to a high school. I graduated from a high school. It was called the Indians, back when it was still okay to be Indians. You know what I mean? Like generically. So, in fact, my high school class was the last class to graduate as the Indians. The next year, they changed it to the Firebirds.
Oh, nice. I'll find something wrong with that next year.
Right. Well, anyways, but yeah, I graduated being proud to be an Indian. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. I think they forget about that part. It's like you actually instilled. So my graduating class was like 450 people. It's not huge, but 450 people. Look, we all were proud to be Indians. I don't remember anyone ever saying it's derogatory or whatever. It's like, no, man, we wanted to come in and kill you, and we were going to do it as Indians. You know what I mean? We played the Cowboys. We were proud to be the Indians. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Of course, we probably made some inappropriate comments and stuff too about the things we were going to do to them when we killed them. But hey, if we're being honest, most of us in high school were being inappropriate.
Of course, you don't. You can't change kids from being kids.
That's actually, somebody asked me the other day. They're like, "When did you get into videotaping?" And I was like, "Okay, so my junior year of marching band, because I was the percussion section leader. Whenever the drums were not marching on the field, we were sitting on the side. My music director, the teacher, the band director, would say, "Hey, Ira, get the video camera, and I want you to pay attention to their feet, so we can see who's off step." And the first video I did, Monty, I got so many production notes from him, like, not this, do that instead. So, like, he really kind of gave me a crash course in how to do a good video over that period. So that's really awesome. How I got started in the videography work. I wouldn't call it videography back then. Yeah. I was just a guy with a camera doing my best to get my band director what he needed. But through the process,
all of the marketing and production things that you learned in band class
helped for sure. Yeah, helped for sure. And then remember we used to have those they were huge, right?
Oh yeah.
Set them up. I learned how to set up shots, and just so many things. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So my kids,
I did more with the videotape in the beginning than I did with the regular camera, because no one was paying me to shoot photos.
Yeah. So my kids have this in their school. They have this this program. So each high school, so I live in Olathe, Kansas, which is just a suburb of Kansas City, right? So in Olathe, we have each high school has their own custom program, if you would. So at my kids' high school, you can go into their program that's for media production. They'll shoot videos and stuff like that, and they'll do websites and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that's this school. Another school has culinary arts, where you can go if you want to be a chef. So another school has engineering if you want to build robots, right? So my kids all went through this program because of what I do. They thought it was cool, so they,
I knew it. I knew it, by the way.
They want to do that. Broncos, yeah, of course.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So Les, now we both hate you. That's friendly hate. I mean, we still love you, but we hate you. But did they finish last in the division? I think they did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there you go. That's all we got to say about that. All right. No, I think that's cool. So the schools are set up now, and they're doing more of that out here too, especially with the STEM stuff.
Yeah.
So the science and so I like that.
I do too.
Not everybody's necessarily going to go to college, and not everybody needs to go to college. Yeah. I was actually debating that.
No, they don't, and I 100% agree with you.
I want to bring this up for those watching, because look, like some of these quote unquote blue collar jobs, these skilled labor jobs, they'll come out of high school, they'll get trained, they'll make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year right out of high school, with maybe there's an apprenticeship program. I'm sure that they've got to do some stuff, but they don't need to go 4 years, get a bachelor's degree, be $150,000, $200,000 in debt, and then make $70,000 or $80,000 a year anyways, and then have to pay it for the next 10 or 15 years. It's kind of ludicrous. So you really, what I'm advising people to do is figure out what they love to do. Like,
that's exactly right.
You and I have so much in common. So before I owned Bowman Digital Media, I was in the print business. Okay. I started out selling the equipment, not actually even doing design work or anything like that, not selling the output. I was selling basically the blueprint machines that make the plans, construction plans, right? So anybody using AutoCAD would have used a machine called a plotter, and I sold the plotters and the equipment and the service and the supplies. So that's what I did. I did that for basically 10 years. Then I went to work for a company that, like, you know what, we don't need that, but we need a color department sales rep. I'm like, what is that? They're like, well, so you're going to sell like wraps, the sides of walls. You're going to do like trade show booths and things, you know, fun stuff, but not equipment, the output. And I'm like, okay, I think I could do that, right? So I learned it. Well, through that process, what happened was I was running into smaller, and we'll get into this in a second, so we're going to talk about your business, but I was running into smaller companies that didn't have a marketing person. They didn't really have graphic design stuff on staff. And so I would go and sell them on this concept of putting their picture somewhere to help build their branding, marketing efforts, right? And what would happen? They'd go, great, let's go, but they didn't have a file. Now, sometimes on those small deals, you add the cost of design into it, and you know what happens. They go away. So it's like, is there any way that I can bridge that gap for you so I can still get my print order and make money, right? Everybody wins. The company wins. So I started to learn Photoshop and Illustrator on the side. And over the years, I became pretty good at it, and I enjoy it. So then for the next 10 plus years, I did both. I worked for companies where we sold equipment, and I also worked for companies with output. So as I rose the ranks and became sales manager and sales director, I was doing more and more design work, which
for sure.
I loved it. So when I was laid off because the print business basically took a nosedive during COVID, right? My company laid me off. Well, they furloughed me in May, almost a year ago. They furloughed me in May, and then I was officially laid off June 1st, basically. So June 9th, I launched Bowman Digital Media. But the reason why I launched it, and it's a long-winded answer, but this is why I'm get going there, because I love doing this. I love social media management. I love creating graphics, and I love helping people build their business. Like, I love everything about all of that. And I work with small companies, mostly 1 to 5 people, 1 to 10 people. They don't have usually a marketing person, or if they do, they have one, and they're typically like good at traditional stuff and not this digital stuff. Right. So anyways, that's why I do it. Now, I have a daughter who wants to be a chef. She's 12 years old. Will she change her mind? It's possible, right? But she really loves everything about the culinary arts. Do I need to send her to UC Davis or UCLA or wherever you fill in the blank school to learn how to cook? No, I surely don't. They have plenty of vocational schools, which is what they call them, where I can send her for 6 months or a year or maybe 2 years, get her the training she needs that's specific to her industry, and let her chase her passion. Will she be miserable at work? No. Will she be miserable at school? No. And frankly, some of my kids are not straight A students. In fact, I've only got 2 of them that are.
Right.
I've got 1 kid in college right now that I'm wondering if I made a mistake at sending her because she's struggling. But you know what I mean? So I think it's much smarter. And again, remember what I said. They come out of these vocational schools. They have the certificates that they need from the organizations that are reputable. They might pay 10 or 20 grand, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than 1 year of college, let alone 4, where they suffered through it because it doesn't really fit their desire. And then they're not making much, if as much money anyways, when they come out.
Mm-mm.
I know people that work for like PG&E or Edison Power, blue collar jobs, where they're making as much as mid-level managers.
Yeah.
No degree required.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's, I think she's talking about the way they finished last in the, sorry, Les, to pick on you, but is that so the kids say that these days, right? Sorry, not sorry. I think that's
sorry, not sorry. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So let's talk about your business. Okay. You have relevant
marketing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's another word too, right?
Solutions. Well, my website's relevantmarketing.solutions.
There we go. Okay. But the name of the company's Relevant Marketing?
It's just relevant. Yeah. I just
we're gonna okay, so I'm gonna say relevant, but I'm talking about your business. So walk us through that. You're the owner, right?
Yep.
Okay. So why is it?
So relevant is the
relevant is here. How did this get going? When did it go? And tell us just a little bit about the company itself.
Right. So like you, again, you and I are kind of two peas in a pod here. At the end of, at the beginning of 2019, I left what I was doing. And by way of my full-time job, I was working with a guy and he just said, well, I had a primary account fall off. So I've got to not pay you, basically. So I said, okay, well.
Yeah, you don't do this for free, bro.
Yeah. So I started out on my own, basically, and.
So this was 2019?
2019. So at this time, March of 2019.
So you're 2 years, so you're 2 years old.
Yep. Well, the company's actually only a year old because I started on my own, just doing my own thing, figuring out LinkedIn, right? I got to get on there, I want to figure it out. So then in 2020,
I love this picture.
In 2020,
look at this guy's face. It's like he's like, I don't want any part of this. And the colors of the shirts match.
That's sales versus marketing right there.
Yep. That's the story of our life.
So in 2020, I started Relevant. And, really I started it because I can do a lot of things, but, my focus is primarily on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So and really within LinkedIn, my primary focus that I work with people on is now sales.
Yeah.
Because just as you were talking just a little bit earlier about what you were doing in terms of going out for the company that you were working with and you were selling, and you were creating solutions for people.
Yeah.
I find that, most people can understand, like I can talk to most people about marketing and give them some pointers and tell them how to post, how they should go about their posting. And then I can work with them on that, kind of oversee it, if you would. But most people's problems with LinkedIn that I have found are sales.
No, that's 100% right.
Not only, and
I'm finding exactly the same thing.
It's not only
understand how to increase your sales.
Yeah, it's not only with entrepreneurs, individuals, and stuff that are wanting to do it, but then at the company, when you get into teams, there's not a lot of people that really understand social sales using LinkedIn. And right now, I'll tell you, it's a lot more challenging now because COVID was good and bad for sales because good because tons of people now jumped on the platform and now there's tons of engagement and activity on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
But with that comes so much automation, so much people just nailing everybody right out of the gate with a sales message that it almost, it really kind of desensitizes people.
That's how they're doing it wrong, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. This seems to come up each and every week, and I get it. It is the major problem on LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
For those of you who are watching, and if you haven't seen the show before, please listen to what we're about to say. Please listen, because you might get a sale out of it. You might, if you filter through enough people. But what you're going to do is burn every other bridge out there. People are gonna like not want to be associated with you. They're not gonna want to connect with you. I sure as hell am not gonna refer anybody to somebody that I know is gonna spam them the second they connect. Like you got to treat people like people. Monty, this is why you and I got along right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. Right out of the gate, it was like it's refreshing to have somebody who actually wants to talk to me, not somebody who wants to just send me their pitch deck.
Well, exactly, and I think you made a very solid point about the fact that you have greater opportunity for losing an opportunity with LinkedIn than you do for gaining one. If you look at LinkedIn like a numbers game, where you're just constantly trying to ping people, and hey, are you interested in
this? My mom to quit texting you in a second. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that. Yeah, she's killing me.
She wants to tell you that she likes the Chiefs better than the Raiders too. Actually, I'm not even kidding. My own mother would go for the Chiefs over the Raiders. So there you go.
My wife is actually traveling back from New York City today, so she's probably
New York City. You remember those old commercials?
Hey, that's a good story. Let me tell you about this story because I'll tell you about what the power of LinkedIn is, right? Yeah. So my daughter's 18 years old. She'll be 19 in April. When she was 17, she got a contract to be a model with an agency out of Chicago, right? Fashion model. So after she turned 18, she got rid of that contract and signed with another company out of New York City, which is where she really wants to be.
Yeah. So
COVID hits, 2020, New York City shuts down, can't get anything anywhere. So it's finally starting to open up. The agency says, okay, we want you to come out here and spend 6 weeks. We're going to build up your book, your photos, and everything back up. So she goes through this process of starting to find an Airbnb, somewhere where they can stay, because most agencies have what they call model housing, where they'll put up models that come in and stuff. Right. Well, that wasn't available because of COVID, so she was kind of on her own trying to find something. We thought we had something lined up. A week before she was supposed to go out there, that fell apart. Mm. So we're sitting here now going, okay, we have no family in New York City. Right. We don't really have anybody we know. So I dropped a post on LinkedIn saying, hey, calling on my LinkedIn, crowd here, see if there's anybody at all that would be willing to either put my daughter up or help us find a place. I had so many people respond to that thing that my phone was just, you think it's blowing up now. Right. The entire day, it was just ding, 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 ding. Here,
well, my mom's only one person, so she can only do one at a
time. So, bottom line is, we wound up with a place that she has by herself in probably the best part of Brooklyn. That's awesome. One subway stop away from Times Square, where her agency is. It was 100% LinkedIn. The two people who reached out to me that told me about the place, and then where she's staying, I was not even connected to.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and that's like for me. I don't know about for relevant. I'm going to assume it probably is, but I'm going to say it, and then you can verify. So for me, Bowman Digital Media, I haven't spent any money in advertising. Haven't needed to. All my work is 100%. Well, I say 99.9% just to be.
Yeah.
It's all LinkedIn, but most of it is not from people that I was directly connected to. It's just like what you said with your daughter in this situation. It's like I'm connected to folks who have figured out that Ira is not a jerk. You know what I mean? I'm not here to spam you anyways. And so they can refer people to me who need like legitimate work. They need a website. They want a press release. They want a graphic design, photography, whatever, right? Yep. I go, well, I know a guy who does that. Reach out to Ira. And so then I meet with these secondary connections and we do business. That's 100% of my business model. Like I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I do a lot of the same things. I try to edit it to be appropriate for those channels. But my business, it all comes from my LinkedIn relationships. So
yeah, that's true for mine as well, and quite honestly, if it wasn't, I really wouldn't be able to push myself as a somebody that's going to help people find business on LinkedIn, right?
Right. I mean, and that's a conversation I have with people in reality. It's like, look, you can research my business all day long as far as what I do on LinkedIn and how I get it. And you can see there's a track record there. I tell people to be very careful. Like, look, if you're hiring a company that's obscure on LinkedIn and you're trying to be successful on LinkedIn, maybe, just maybe, you might want to reconsider that. Like, you have over 1,000 followers. Your business page on LinkedIn has over 1,000 followers. There's a lot of major companies that have been around a lot longer that don't have that. So that's an estimate to what you're doing is working, right? And
well, there's the other thing you gotta be careful of too is, I know you've been on LinkedIn for a long time and you've worked up your following, right? There's all kinds of false players on LinkedIn who have bought their followers. They buy their likes and comments,
Which I don't even understand why anybody would want to do that. Like, to me, there's no point. But to me, it's not even about the individual stuff. Like, I get the individual part of it.
You know what it is? It's somebody like what you were just saying earlier that has created a digital course that just wants to, and you know what? Literally anybody on LinkedIn can go follow somebody like you or me and then go take a course free on LinkedIn, right? About how to do LinkedIn, create their own course, buy 100,000 followers and say, I'm an expert to it. Right. And all they're doing is pocketing cash that people are trusting them that they know what they're doing. And
well, for individuals, I always tell people, just go to irabowman.com, watch the videos that I have on there for free, and then connect with me and watch what I do on a daily basis.
That's right.
Monkey see, monkey do. I'll teach you how to do it. You won't spend a dime. I mean, if you want to, you can, but the business part is where the money is, guys. Like, if your business page has 200 followers and you're treating it like an old PR, not press release, public relations, if you're treating it that way, like you did in 2015, that's where you're making your mistake.
Well, the other thing I'll do too, and I'm sure you do this as well, is that, look, if you're serious about, you really want to dig in and learn how to do everything that I do for yourself so you can do it for yourself because you don't have the money to pay an Ira Bowman or a Monte Clark, to do it for you or to help you do it, get on my calendar, 2 hours. I'll show you exactly what I'll do, how I would do it, and you can do it yourself.
So I had a client who hired me for 1 month, and they had a marketing intern. And for that 1 month, what I did was every time I was working on their account, I got on a Zoom call with their marketing intern. And I showed them what I was doing. We talked about the philosophy behind it. And then after 1 month, which frankly cost them $500, so it wasn't like we're not talking about a huge investment. But they got a master class in how to do this. And are they going to be as good as me? No. Because I didn't learn this in 1 month. And also, and this is one thing that I do try to tell people, like, look, when I make something on social media because of the social equity that I've built, I'm going to get a bigger response than a lot of people. I don't care what size their profile is.
That's right.
Because of the equity that I've built, right? So if you come in and do exactly the same thing I did, you're not going to likely get the same results as me. And that's the difference, right? It's the equity.
That is the difference. And people do need to understand that. I mean, we can give you the knowledge. We can hand that over to you. It doesn't mean that it removes the work that you're going to have to put in to do it yourself, right? Because you still have to build up your own trust, expertise, and authority. You still have to create your own social proof.
Yeah, you can spend as much money as you want buying all the fake stuff that you want, but you're eventually, if you really want to do this the right way, you're gonna have to you got
to put in the work.
You got to put in the work, and you got to show up consistently. It can't just be like, oh, I got this week off and I'm going to do it for a week. Great, well, that's a good start.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but that's where I find where I help people the most is LinkedIn does take a lot of work, and there's not that many people that can spend the amount of time that it actually takes to develop relationships, build rapport, and move them through kind of a sales funnel, if you would, or a process. I don't really like the word funnel, but through a process that gets you to the point that you can actually have a sales discussion.
I still use the term moving the needle. The things have to move the needle. So you have to identify what the objectives are, and then you have to figure out where, okay, so where should I spend my time? Where should I invest my time to get that ROI? Which, if you're not considering those things, that's a mistake. You can't just willy-nilly.
Well, and most people don't even really understand, one, the problem that they solve, and for two, who they solve it for.
Right. Well, and then people are still on, and this is a huge mistake that I see. I haven't asked you this, but let's get to this. So we haven't gotten any good questions yet, guys, from the audience. So if you're watching and you have a question for Monte and I, go ahead and drop it in, because you're getting free answers from people who understand how this really works. You know what I mean? So if you want, but I'm going to ask Monte something. The number one mistake that you see from people right now would be, now I'm talking about for their business. Let's go for their business efforts. And then I'll tell you what
it's a coin flip between messaging people incorrectly. Direct messaging people incorrectly.
That probably is the number one. I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you a different one, but that was pretty bad. I mean,
the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin for that, for me though, Ira, is people that don't create engaging content. They're just putting content out there, just kind of throwing information against the wall, hoping that somebody will actually say something about it.
So and we've talked about the one, right? Like, if you guys are doing this, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
You connect with somebody, and it's even worse if it's animated, because that's not even, you're breaking LinkedIn's own policies and rules. They can actually kick you out. So you're putting your own account in jeopardy. It's one of the reasons why I don't personally, at Bowman Digital Media, we don't do personal LinkedIn management for people, for our clients. Mm-hmm. We will manage your business page because you can add us as a super admin, which is what we
do. Exactly.
And we can sign in, we're us, and we're doing everything as us. So that's above board. I'm not going to log out of LinkedIn and log in as you.
That's right.
Pretend like I'm you. I don't do that. No.
Right.
So, that's one thing. Automation stuff is against the rules. Don't do that. And I have to be a little bit careful because I'm not allowed to coach people on LinkedIn here. So let's just say social media in general. If you're connecting with folks and the first thing you do is send them, you've got this pre-written pitch. It's what it is. It's a message, right? You've crafted it. Maybe it's part of your drip campaign, and you send it to them. Now, there are actually successful ways to do this, but it isn't about you. It would be about them. So if you wanted to have a series of questions that you ask them and get them talking about them, great. Now you're on the right track. But if you're talking about you and how you're going to solve their problem, I get this all the time. In fact, I've probably got 10 of them this morning. Somebody offered me lead gen. Someone offered me web design. I'm like, did you even look at my freaking profile, dude? Did you realize that I do some of that for a living? Now, if you want to offer me white label services, great, but
I have the exact same thing in my email. In fact, that's kind of the new thing that people are doing, because they're not finding the same success that they used to have with direct messaging, just the immediate sales pitch.
Yeah.
Now they're going and collecting your email. They're scraping your email off of accounts, and they're just sending out the same thing through email.
Well, and I'm going to tell you that if you send me a cold call email, spam email, and then 3 days later you say, did you see my email? I'm expecting a response.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. You can hold your breath till you're blue in the face. I'm never going to respond unless I do something snarky like, would you like sales lessons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't ask you for your pitch, bro. Like, if I send you an email and ask you a question and then you respond and you don't get a response from me 3 days later, you say, hey, did you see that? Okay. Mm-hmm. That's
the other thing is good. The other thing is, if you are pitching me my same services,
right?
Why do I want to hire? Why would anybody want to hire a company?
That happens every day to me. Does that not happen to you every day? It's like, dude, I can help you build your SEO. Like, really? And then I go, just for giggles, I go look at their website, SEO on SEO.
Yeah.
I use. And they have a domain authority of 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, explain to me how you're going to help me when you can't even help yourself.
Yeah. Well, but to me, I mean, I think it's a bigger issue. I mean, it needs to be talked about more just because there's so many people. Honestly, Ira, there's a ton of people that are just desperate to get sales right now.
No, I get it.
And there's so many people who are just, they will buy into that stuff just in hopes that, okay, maybe this is the thing that will work. And it's just garbage. And it takes away their opportunities. They lose opportunity for the relationship. Yeah. Treat it like a live networking event. That's all you have to do. I don't understand why that's such a difficult concept for people.
In the design space, we have two different ways that we can design. We have destructive and non-destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what's non-destructive? We're using mask layers. That's basically what it is. We're not using erasers. We're using masks to cover stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the sales process and you're sending out these pitches, this spam, what you're basically doing is a destructive form of sales. Because yes, you can design with a destructive method. You certainly can. It can be quite effective. But the problem is it comes at a cost. You and I both know what that cost is. You want some of that data back that you erased for another project because you got to resize it and you need a little more. And now what do you have to do? You have to go and reinvent.
Got to redo it.
Mm-hmm. Something, right? Yep. Where if you used a mask layer, you can just turn the damn thing off and you don't have to start over.
Right?
The sales process, if you're sending out spam, what are you doing? You might be finding, again, because you're filtering through enough people, you might be finding enough to hit your sale. But what you're doing in the same time is you're also eliminating a lot of connections. You're destroying a lot of connections. But you could have come back to the well with another time if you'd done it the right way, right? So like if I'm sending out a message, and this is my number one thing, we're going to combine them here. So you're correct. This is a huge issue, and it's probably a bigger issue, frankly, is people spamming, and I know what they're doing. They have no real sales experience. They're not sales professionals, but they're trying to sell desperately. I get it.
Yes.
But what I'm hoping they're hearing is there's a better way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now listen to this, because this is the flip side. And what's my experience? Just 20 plus years of outside business to business sales experience. As an individual sales rep, as a director of sales, as a sales manager, I've had all these different levels, right? I have got sales out the yin-yang, and I have a marketing degree, by the way. So I know the other side. I get the conflict. But let me teach you guys a little bit about sales right here that will help you. Stop talking about how you're going to help them. Stop it. They don't care because they don't know you yet. You know what you really should do? You should ask more questions than you make statements. Identify what their true pain points really are. If you can identify the true pain points, get them to tell you what their pain points are, and in the same process, build that relationship, because now you're not coming across as I'm just trying to sell you something. You're legitimately trying to find out about them. They're going to like you more. This is relationship building 101.
That's the key. That's the key, though. You cannot ask questions just to get to your sales pitch.
Right. You've got to actually legitimate. Now, you can have hypotheses in these that you're trying to get to a place. That's a strategy. 100% okay with that. Chess, not checkers. I would like to get you to this box if I can, so that I can sell you this solution if it's needed. But what you need to understand that's a lot of ifs. You've got to move.
Exactly. But what you're saying, though, is what true social selling is. And let me ask you some questions to discover if I can be a solution for what you're saying. It's not, I know what my solution is. I'm just going to ask you the question to get you to that point so I can say it.
Right, because that's going to leave people icky. That will leave people icky.
Exactly. If I'm just asking you the question so that you will give me the right answer, so I can go, oh, bingo, hey, you need my solution.
Well, and here's how I do it. Let me work it all the way through, okay? You meet somebody, or let's say before you even meet them, because you can be strategic about this. You identify people that you would like to meet because you have a feeling that what you do would really help them. You don't know it, but based on your experience, based on what you sell, you think, okay, a director of marketing, they might need this. Okay, leads, which marketing people don't need leads. That's sales people. Just so you guys get the idea. We don't care about leads. We try to figure out the leads for our customers. That's what we do, right? So if you're trying to sell me in marketing leads, you've missed the boat already. You misidentified your audience. Oh, I could go on and on. Okay.
Yes.
But your solution, you have identified a title you think you can help them. So then you reach out to them, but you don't reach out, hey, would you like to buy my leads? Because they don't know you and they've already had 1,000 people before you ask them, right? So all you're doing is irritating them.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. So instead, you reach out with something like, hey, I noticed you went to Purdue University. What made you choose Purdue? Has nothing to do with nothing except for it's relationship building. It's a question. It's not a yes or no. It's not a yes or no question. And it shows that you actually read their profile.
Yeah. You're building rapport.
Right. You didn't try and sell them something that they sell themselves. Right. And you've asked them a question. I guarantee you, if somebody reaches out to me and said, hey, Ira, what made you go to San Jose State? What made you go to Liberty University? Because I didn't finish my degree at San Jose State. I finished it at Liberty. You could ask me that. Like, hey, why didn't you finish? What made you finish your degree at Liberty? There's a conversation that I would be interested in having with people because it shows that they want to get to know me, not just sell me something. So that's the strategy behind that, right? Build relationships. Now,
that's right.
Zig Ziglar said it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? Mm-hmm. So take that advice and run with it. Lots of people have said it too, by the way. It's not just like, but anyways, that's the idea. Like you build that relationship. So how are you going to do that? You're not going to talk about specs. You're not going to talk about features. You're not going to even talk about benefits. Nothing. You're going to ask questions. You have some what we call presumptions, right? You think about them based on their experience, based on their business size. But you're going to ask questions to verify and validate. And when you do that, now you could start actually, maybe tagging them in posts, for example, on social media. Say, hey, I think that this might be interesting to you. Now you have some soft close basically going on without a pitch. There's no pitch there. You can see from their comments if they're interested. Oh, that's not really a pain point because they didn't respond. Or something you're not even sure, and they're like 3 comments deep before you can respond. You're like, oh, wow, I have hit on something. Now you can DM and say, hey, I noticed you're pretty interested in this. Would you like to meet? Have a meeting about that. I want to learn more about what you're interested in on this questions and see. You know what I mean? And again, you're doing it from an inquisitive way, not a statement way.
The other thing I'll say to that too, Ira, is you got to make sure you're fishing in the right pond, right? I mean,
remember what I said when I said it out of the gate. You have to identify your audience first.
That's right. And a lot of people fail right there.
Yeah, because they're reaching out to you and me about stuff that we sell. Mm-hmm. That's why I know they're doing it right.
Yep.
The only reason, but
and you look at if you look at most content out there on LinkedIn, if you read most people's posts, you'd have no idea who they're talking to.
Well, and not only that, if you're reading most people's content, it's too much about themselves. They're bragging about themselves. They're bragging. You know what you really should do? You should paint a picture of pain and then tell the story of the resolution, right? Yeah. Or if nothing else, just tell them where they can get the resolution, right? You guys are having trouble getting sales. Go to irabowman.com. He'll teach you how to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like that works way better than, I have 20 years in sales and we help people generate 3 more prospect meetings per week. Like who gives a crap? You're just you come off as braggadocious.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you're a bragger. Yeah. Great. I don't care about you. Yeah. But if you can get people to nod their head and go, yeah, I identify with that. You know what I mean? And do it in a quote unquote non-salesy way, which basically just means you're not giving me a brochure. I don't want to read your brochure as a post.
Yeah. And, it always makes me laugh whenever I see the people bragging about how many views on a post they got and how much organic following they developed over the past 6 months.
I fell into that trap a lot 2 years ago because I didn't know any better. Because I was, I would see these people. I got 1 million followers. I got 100,000 views. Blah blah blah. And so I had to learn that myself. Like
it's tempting. Yeah, it's tempting for everybody. That's what social media is, right? We want likes. We want followers. We want to build that up. We want to feel good that we're building up, more people that want to see our stuff. It's tempting. But I'm just talking about for the normal person who's trying to figure out LinkedIn to build their business. Mm-hmm. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, what you
want is this. You made a post. You got an inquiry about the post for legitimate business purposes. If you could, every time you post, get one legitimate inquiry from a prospect or even a client about that product or service, that's a victory. I don't care if you got 10 views. You got one lead form basically filled out, like it's the equivalent of a lead form filled out on a contact form filled out on your website from a post. It didn't cost you nothing.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I take people back to their websites and say, listen, do you concern yourself every day with how many people come to your website and talk about, your blog or anything like that? No, they just have it out there. What you're doing on LinkedIn, even if you get very few views, very few likes, comments, you're building social proof. You're building up your trust, expertise, and authority through your content. So when you're having these sales discussions, when you're messaging somebody, you're building a rapport and you're doing all the things you just talked about. When they go back to your content, and they will, then they're going to see who you are and what you're all about. It's social proof.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I tell people, look, the idea is simple. People are on social media right now. Yep. By the hundreds of millions.
That's right.
They don't know you. They don't know your products. They don't care because they've been their whole life just fine without you. That doesn't mean that they wouldn't be better with you, but they don't know that yet. They don't care, frankly, yet. But if you can get them to pay attention to you, to know you exist, and then you can get them to realize that you're actually a cool guy like Monte Clark. I'm telling you guys, his one flaw, it's glaring. He's only got one. It's that he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. That's it. Other than that, he's awesome, right? So if you can get people to know that you're awesome, right? You're not going to spam them. You're a real guy. You've got real talent, and you've got talent for days, right? And if anybody is, look, I don't invite just anybody on my show. You actually have to be good, or I won't bring you on. I don't know if you guys have figured that out with my roster. Yes. Trust me, I vet everybody before I even invite them. This isn't you ask me to come on my show. I actually reach out to you and say, hey, would you like to be a guest on my show? That's how it really works. So when people can get to know you, that you are a cool guy, that you have talent, and you could legitimately help most people on LinkedIn. You really could. Mm-hmm. You could help them with their website. You could help them with their marketing campaign in total.
Right.
When they figure that those two things are true, cool guy, not here just to spam me, and talented guy with services that can actually help me, those are the ones who start to pay attention and reach out to you. In reality, that's where the business comes from. Like we said it earlier in the show, it's like 20 minutes in. Most of my business, most of your business, if not all of it, is coming from what we're doing on the business social media that I will not name just because I don't want to get in trouble. Okay? But y'all know which one I'm talking about. End of the end. There we go. Okay. You know what I mean? Or you can be the greasy slime ball guy who wants to send somebody, basically you're asking to consummate the marriage before they even know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's think about that. How successful do you think that's going to be? Yeah, could you find somebody desperate enough to take you up on it? Sure. But you're going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and they're going to be like, I don't want anything to do with that. And why would you want to represent relevant that way? Why would I want to represent home and digital media that way? Heck no. Heck no. That's the exact opposite of what I really want.
Well, yeah, and I know that you're exactly like me in that you're not trying to work for every single person on LinkedIn.
I frankly turn a lot of business down.
You have a very specific type of person and company that you want to work with because you know that you're going to be able to make them successful. You know that they're going to pour into what you tell them to do, and you know that they're going to invest.
The person's important.
Yeah, they're going to invest in what you're talking about.
If you and I don't gel in the consultation meeting, I will not work for you. No. And people go, really? Because I've had this conversation with people like, they want to hire me for whatever product or service. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're not a good fit. But you might want to try. And then I'll give them somebody else. And people go, why not? I go, look, I don't want every time the phone rings with you on the other end for me to grit my teeth. and vice versa. I don't want you to grit your teeth every time. You know what I mean? Like I have a certain personality, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the other thing I don't want is, honestly, it just really kind of hit me while we were talking about this, is that I want to communicate more about the type of clients that I don't want.
Yeah.
Because if you're so short-sighted that you need to get all of your clients in the first 4 weeks, I don't want to work with you. I mean, if you are,
I had a client like that actually. So I didn't realize it in the consultation. We actually hit it off pretty well. Guy was from Texas. And things were good. About 2 weeks in, he sent me something, and it made me nervous. I'm like, oh,
I can tell.
Right? And I was like, okay. But it was exactly what you were talking about. This guy wanted like the world delivered in the next 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, it's not the way this thing works. SEO is, it's slow. You make the changes, and then it eventually catches up, and you start seeing it later. And I think he was desperate because he was in financial straits. But I'm like, I can't help where you're starting. I can get you where you want to go if you have patience. I think that's
correct. And that's what I typically do with most people is I don't hold anybody. Honestly, I don't even create a contract, because if I'm not successful for you, there's no reason for us to work together.
Yep.
But let's define what success is.
Right. And
let's make sure that you are actually engaged in what we're going to accomplish and how.
Yep.
Right? Because if I can, if you are, as an individual, are full, your plate's full with 10 clients, right? Then there's no reason for me to go out and market to get you 100.
Yeah, because
we need to get you the 10 right clients.
Yeah.
How long does that take? And how many clients do you have? 2? Okay. So we need 8.
And how long does it take to get a client? Because that depends too, based on what industry they're in.
That's exactly right. It depends.
If they say, I want 8 clients in the next 3 months. Well, if you're in certain industries with a short ramp up time, then yeah, okay, great. But if you're in one where you got 2 clients and you can handle 10, but it took you 6 months to get each one of those. Well,
that's right. And Ira, I just had a conversation with a lady this morning, and I said, walk me through your process. Tell me she's a coach. Walk me through your process and tell me what you do with them so that I can have an understanding of, how easy or difficult it'll be to get you a client. Well, she didn't have a process, right? It was just, I keep myself open for them, and it's, they, how many clients do you have?
So she has no marketing strategy at all.
No. Well, I have 3. Okay. How did you get those clients? Well, they were all friends of mine, which honestly, that's the thing with coaching these days. There's a million coaches out there. They're all coaching 2 or 3 people, and those 2 or 3 people happen to be their friends.
So here's a great tip for all you coaches out there. You have 3 clients, ask those clients for referrals if you're doing a good job. Who do they know that could also benefit? Just the referrals, look, the Bible says it, and I'm not going to get religious on people because, I know that's not popular, but the Bible says you have not because you ask not, right?
Popular with me, by the way. So.
Yeah, well, me too. That's one of the other reasons we've been on. Although I'm still figuring out how, maybe you're just an unrepentant sinner, because I'm trying to figure out how a Bible believer can be a Chiefs fan. Most people in the country would be like, I don't know how somebody who's a repentant sinner could be. I had a pastor who was actually an intern, but he was pastor intern, right?
Yeah.
Ira, I don't think Raiders fans could be saved. It was legitimately like, because he sees the stereotype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See,
I'm like, hey, it's called sanctification, baby. We start here and we end up getting better after we're forgiven. So eventually, I fully expect you one day will change teams. But
there you go.
But to this point, right? Like, guys, if you have any customers at all that you're doing a good job for, when's the last time you asked them, like, hey, do you know anybody else who might benefit the same way? That's just one tip. Lots of other tips. I like to use case studies a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like, hey, this is the position they were in before they started working with Bowman Digital Media. 6 months into it, this is where they are now. That's strong. So there's another tip for you, right? There's all kinds of ways to help, but you got to have a process. You got to think of this all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a process and you want to develop a process, maybe you hire Monte or Ira and you start there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I know I need a process, but I don't have one. Okay. Well, before you hire me to run you a monthly program, let's work on. I hate these words.
And quite honestly,
let's work on this marketing plan and develop that first.
Most people need to work on their business before they even jump into marketing and sales. Honestly,
there's no doubt. I'm actually excited. I'm excited at Exit Your Way, which is I'm a fractional. Got a fractional contract with them as sales and marketing, and we are developing. In fact, it's almost ready to launch. So I'm going to announce it. I haven't not talked about this at all. I'm going to talk about this right now. We are getting ready to do. It's called a Business Accelerator Program.
Nice.
We have 2 different tracks. We have one for entrepreneurs. We have one for enterprise. But basically, we're going to take them through 12 different. I don't want to say pods. I want to say tracks. 12 tracks for all kinds of things. We're going to talk about their marketing program. We're going to talk about their sales program. We're going to talk about how they're running their books, the finances, the thing nobody ever wants to talk about, right?
Yep.
We've got 12 of these. It's going to be once a month. We're going to get, and they're going to have a peer-to-peer network support too. So it's going to be a thing where you buy in. There's going to be a new trainer each month for, we're bringing in experts for each of those 12 topics. And that's why we're doing it. It's kind of like a masterclass in running a business, honestly. Yep. It's a year long, and you're going to have homework. Like we're going to, if you want to participate, you can't just get in. You can't just say, hey, Ira, I want to jump in. We're going to interview people. We're going to bring in the 6 best people that are fully committed to this process. And everybody's going to sign NDAs so that the people inside it can just be completely transparent. Anyways, that's through Exit Your Way. If you guys are interested in that. But Monty, the reason why we're doing it is exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. People are so deficient in running their business. It's not just.
It's true.
More sales. Now, sales fixes a lot of problems. And the goal, our stated purpose for this, I don't even know what we're calling it yet, right? But you know what I mean? The whole, this process, this group, whatever it is, like it's called a business accelerator. The reason why we're doing it is because we want to help people increase their sales by 30%. But it's like, look, if they have broken marketing, their e-commerce isn't right. Their accounting processes are not correct. Well, that could be part of the reason why your business is in trouble.
Totally.
And not everybody has an MBA. If you have a master's in business, you might not need this. But then again, you might have been in college 30 years ago. And so
exactly.
Commerce didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Your social media efforts, right? That could be the whole problem. But anyways.
There's no doubt about it.
Let's do this. We're in overtime, and I know you probably got to go, and I've got to go too because I've got an appointment coming up. But let me do this. So let me just give you like 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever you'd like, to kind of put a bow on this thing. Advice for folks. Let's reiterate how they can get in touch with you, and I hope by now people have noticed what I know about you. I've been teasing about the Chiefs, but you're a great guy. You've got mad skills, and I love the way you're doing things on social media. So
I appreciate it.
You got my full endorsement, bro.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And it's funny because a lot of people would look at us and go, and I'm even looking at your programs, but I mean, it's funny how similar we are, even to the programs that we offer.
Right? I know.
Why would I have you on my show? I'll tell you why. Because and we haven't done this. Let's talk about this too. Okay, so let's make it 5 minutes. Who's like your perfect clientele? Let's start with that. You know what I mean? Because we didn't talk about that. Because that might be where we differ, but
yeah. My perfect clientele are small businesses that have sales teams, 7 to 10 people who have been in business for at least 5 years, and they have a traditional sales model that just has not gotten them over the hump.
Okay.
And they really need to incorporate a social sales process. They may or may not have an internal marketing team, but they need somebody to come in and work with their salespeople, top to bottom, and individually, working specifically on LinkedIn. So that's primarily you got to be B2B or have a product that you sell B2B. I have a lot of success with that too. But
so is there like industries, you know what I mean? Like healthcare or service-based business? I mean, you know what I mean? Have you noticed that? Like you've niched into verticals?
Yeah. So I've worked in the finance industry. I've worked in the healthcare industry. I've worked with, in the food industry. I've worked with coaches. So I wouldn't really, for me, it's more about the process than it is the vertical.
That 5 to 10 sales folks.
Yep.
Five or so years. They're struggling.
Yep. Whether it's a service or a product, I can help. Now, like you said earlier, obviously there's industries that are easier than others. Yeah. So
the financial market, is tough because there's
very tough.
What they can say, right?
Finance.
That's been for me at Bowman Digital Media. I have a couple of those types of clients, but it's been tough to help build because we are so like our hands are tied behind our back.
100%. They're so restricted. And I work with quite a few insurance people.
Look, if you're in the financial market, that doesn't mean Monte and I can't help you. It just means the growth rate that you're going to experience is going to be a little bit different. The growth track is going to be different than somebody who's like a plumber.
Correct. So we'll have to, for finance people, you got to implement some other things, but you got to add some things to it, I should say. But, that's my, for LinkedIn, that would be my sweet spot, that size of company and
programs. For those of you who have not yet seen his website, jump on Relevant Marketing.Solutions. Again, I'm going to put it in the comments again here so everybody can see it. Jump there. Relevant Marketing.Solutions. You can see what his programs are. I'll have to guess. I like that too. I have my full menu on my website, and that's why I did that. It's like I don't want you to waste your time. Like if you can't afford $500 a month, then there's really no sense of getting excited about Bowman Digital Media.
Yeah, totally. So there's a number of ways there's a number of different solutions and ways that we can help people, just like what you do.
It starts with a conversation. Everybody, if you want to work with Monte or you want to work with Ira, we're going to have a phone call first. And I'm interviewing you. I know you think you're interviewing me, but I'm actually
That's right.
That's a great spot to be in. Like when I launched my business, I'm sure you felt the same way. I was like, oh God, I hope people are going to hire me. Like I know I had the skills to do it, but I wasn't sure because I didn't have the established name for this. Yeah. People knew me for print. I was totally for so long. So it's nice 10 months later to be in a spot where I can be choosy.
Absolutely.
That's a blessing. That just got to be nice to me. So, all right. Mm-hmm. So we've got your website loaded. I have tagged you in the comments, but I just want to do it again. And I put Monte Clark in there too, by the way. You guys can go to his name, MonteClark.com. That's another place to find. But I want to put, before we leave again, I'm going to put your LinkedIn profile in the comments in case people
appreciate it.
Yeah, if they're on YouTube or if they're on Facebook, so people can see it. So, guys, if you haven't connected with Monte, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go there, hit the connect button, and then add a message. Say, hey, I saw you on Ira Bowman's show. I love what you had to say, and I'd like to connect with you. I'm not going to try and send you any sales pitch when you hit accept.
That's right.
And then honor that message. Don't send him a sales pitch as soon as he hits yes now, because I'll be.
So here's the other thing. I'll say that too, Ira, is that I have my button set to follow instead of connect because I'm very specific about who I reach out to connect with. Yeah. But if you want to connect with me, hit the more button, then connect, send the message.
And send that message verbatim what I just said. Hey, I saw you on Ira's show.
That's right.
And I think you're a cool guy, even if you were for the Chiefs. And I'm not going to send you a sales spam message as soon as you hit yes, right? Because that's important. Don't do that, guys.
It is.
I think we've covered that ad nauseum now.
That's right.
All right. One of my friends asked me if I was a fan of a cyborg. I go, what are you talking about? He's looking at my profile photo. He thinks I look like a cyborg.
Oh, yeah.
Shows, and I'm like, no, you know what that is? And so you go into Photoshop and you change, and then you do the filter. Anyways, I think it's fun. So I've been doing some of these. They're like portraits. I can't draw to save my life. In full disclosure, I can't do this. Anything on a computer, I pretty much can do it. But by hand, I was never a painter. I was never a stencil artist or anything like that. I can't draw it. My stick figures are embarrassing. So for me, I think this is cool. And actually, have you ever done that where you convert it and then you don't change to black and white? So you don't use the color? The colors are fantastic too.
I know, it's awesome.
So anyways, I'm thinking about making, remember I was talking about TikTok? I was thinking about making one of those TikToks, showing one of these and just speeding it up. Just do one, but make it like 3 times the speed because I can do it pretty quick, but I can't do it that quick. So I'm like, well, let me speed up the process and show you guys how I do it. But anyways, that's what that is supposed to be, in case anybody's curious. I'm just showing off what I think is a fun effect. You guys would call them filters, but it's not a filter. You actually have to. It's like 5 steps to do it. Anyways.
Right.
All right. Well, Monte, thanks for joining me, brother. And I'm sorry I did keep you longer, but that's because I like you.
Hey, no worries. I'm more than willing to stay for good conversation. So I knew I was going to get that with you.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all, if you're not familiar, so go to Bowman Digital Media. I have a Marketing Mondays page. This will live forever there. So if you missed any part of the show and you want to see more of it, you can go there. Also, what I do, Monte, is I transcribe it and I put it. The audio turns into a blog.
Nicely.
I like that. So you're going to get a couple backlinks out of that because I'm going to link to MonteClark.com and I'm going to link to your relevant marketing. So you'll get a couple extra. Do follow backlinks, and my marketing guy knows what that is.
That's right.
Yeah. So as my DA goes up, it'll help more. But I think I'm kind of proud of this. My domain authority is a 13 already. So I launched I launched the website in June, and I have a D of 13. I'm not mad at that.
That's awesome, man. I got to tell you, I have not spent 1 second on SEO
for years
on my website. And I'm going to be starting that now. I've just been spending so much time on social.
I'll tell you why I do it. So
it's important.
I do it for a couple of reasons. A, that does help me get business, right? When people see it.
Yep.
But also it's like, you know how the cobbler's kid always had bad shoes?
Oh, yeah.
You don't know cobblers or shoes.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Right? So I'm like, okay, for me, and this is what I started doing on my Instagram. Because I was doing a lot of selfies and just quick stuff and putting that up. And I'm like, you know what? When people come, they think I can't take pictures. So now I'm kind of doing the opposite. I'm like, unless I finish the photo, I'm not putting it up on my Instagram. So don't go back like 100. I have over 1,000 posts on Instagram.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Because I was just like, this is me and my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways, it was like a behind the scenes thing. So anyways, but I thought, you know what? Let me do it right. I'm advising my clients, this is the way you should do it. So I'm doing it that way. So, my website is optimized for SEO, and that's why it's there. But also I want to show people I could do it. Like it doesn't take, I had a client who said, okay, my website's brand new. How long until I can get, a respectable DA over 13? I'm like, well, really it's a year. It's a year process. I'm at 13 in 10 months. Now you and I both know at the year, I'm going to get a bump because my website will be over a year old. And so I'm going to get a nice little bump. I think I could get it to 20 by the end of June. To go from 0 to 20 in the first year. Again, I'm not spending any extra money on marketing. This is just by doing the right things.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I think that's pretty darn good. So
it is pretty darn good.
And everybody that I tag, a link, give you a do follow link because I'm the site admin. So it's not user generated content. This is, the website doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes more valuable at 20.
Yeah.
So so that'll be your reward for being on the show. And hopefully you'll get some clients out of this.
I appreciate it very much.
What else you got to be teased 90 minutes.
I'm all about that.
I love the fact that you could take it, and you haven't even been that mean back. So now I'm just playing one on you.
It's when your team is winning, you can take
it. Yeah, that's true. And there it is, folks. There it is. That was perfect. Yeah, my team's not winning. Yeah. But we paid our coach for 10 years. Guaranteed.
That's right. That's right.
Heard of that.
We bought a quarterback. You bought a coach.
We paid less, but I think we got the better end of the deal. Somebody was like, "Would you trade Carr for?" And for most people, the answer is no. But Patrick Mahomes, yeah, I wouldn't even think about it. You could have my whole team. I'll just take Mahomes.
Yeah,
we'll build around with people who want to come win.
I'll tell you what, though, Carr's pretty good.
Carr is better than people give him credit for.
He is. I mean, I don't think he's come into his own yet because, let's be honest, there's a lot of quarterbacks that could come into Kansas City and do really well because of the talent that was put around him.
When you look at this with the Raiders, right? It's not about the points they're putting up because points per game, again, they're in the tops. When you look at all his stats, interceptions are low, touchdown passes are high. He runs for a decent clip. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he runs for a decent clip. His completion percentage is high.
Yeah.
He threw for 4,100 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Elway numbers and Marino numbers. When you look at the difference is they're giving up like a sieve. They lost that game, that second game in Kansas City. I thought we had won, right?
Mm-hmm.
You up 80 yards in like 40 seconds of game. Yeah. I mean, Mahomes just sliced them good night.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing. I think it was the Jets the next week. It's like, you put somebody up in the last minute of the game, you think you're going to win. Well, if we had won both of those games, we would have won 10 games instead of 8. And we would have made the playoffs because of who we had beat. So they're really not that far off. But again, when people are like, it's Carr, it's like, no, dude, it's not. You gotta have a defense.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, look at the reason why the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It wasn't because Brady was so unbelievable.
Yeah, it wasn't because Mahomes had a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 100%. But I'll take
defenses win championships. That's what they always say.
And it's true. You got to have a good offense. But I always go back to Brad Smith. And what was that other guy for the Baltimore? He's a little bit older, but Trent Dilfer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Right? Like, I'm not trying to throw shade at them, although I guess did like you did when your team's winning. You don't have to say much. Okay, backhanded. But Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl, and I don't know if he threw 10 touchdown passes that whole season.
No. And where is he now?
I have no idea.
In fact, when you talk about great quarterbacks, he'll never even enter your mind.
Oh no. And the Raiders have one. Jim Plunkett, he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He's not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
In fact, he's the only quarterback to win 2 Super Bowls who isn't, which I don't quite understand that. But
that's kind of crazy.
Look at, he was with the Patriots and he moved around and his numbers were, but they did win 2 Super Bowls. But again, to your point, when you consider who's the greatest of all time, Plunkett, never. I've never heard his name, and rightfully so. I'm a Raiders fan, but rightfully so. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
But like the guy who just retired from New Orleans.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's one of them that should be.
Oh yeah. He's definitely one of the greatest of all time. I mean,
Drew Brees. I was trying to think of his name. Drew Brees.
The thing with Drew Brees though is he did it with mediocre talent around him,
and he was not the stature. Like he didn't have the stature of a prototypical.
No.
6 foot tall. Kind of had a questionable arm. I mean, he did it with his brain. He did it with his brains.
Yep. Brady always had the best of the best. I mean, that's the secret with Belichick. Why he's been so phenomenal.
Well, he knows how to put together a team.
He knows how to put those guys together.
And Arians has a decent team now. I mean, Brady at this point is a recruiting magnet, so he got a lot. Totally play for the league minimum. So kudos to them. I mean, Arians is a smart coach, anyways.
Yeah.
And So that's all good. It's funny though, because Belichick rubs players the wrong way. Like he's so Arians is just like that. Like Brady was the perfect free agent quarterback to go play for Arians because he's used to being verbally basically abused. Yep. You're probably the greatest. There's no probably. He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
There's no arguing it. That's for sure.
There are people who will say, well, Montana won all 6 of the Super Bowls. No, not Montana. He won all the Super Bowls he went to. And you know what I mean? I'm like, well, yeah, so did Bradshaw. Okay?
Yeah.
But the fact is, there was a lot of years they didn't go to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You're not thinking about that. That guy has gone to the Super Bowl more times than he hasn't in his career.
Is that not crazy?
The length of his career. He's more likely to go to the Super Bowl and win it than Steve Curry is to take a 3-point shot and make it. Percentage-wise. That's insane.
That is insane.
And nobody's even close.
No.
The next closest person's in the 20 percentile range. He's over double.
Yeah, no,
so
and
argue now. This is what I love about marketing that most people don't understand. We are all about the numbers. You have to understand that when you want to talk marketing, we are numbers. I'll number you to death.
No kidding.
So you want to argue with me, bring it. But just know that you're coming against the machine when it comes to numbers. I have dyslexia too, so I'll flip them around on you. I'll say something totally, and I'll have to fix it. So I'm not saying. I'm saying, if you come to that argument with me, you better come prepared because I'm not coming just based on a sycophant. I hate Tom Brady, like I hate the Chiefs. 2001, that was a tuck, bro. No, it wasn't. That was a fumble. Just like in the 70s, that wasn't a catch. That was the immaculate deception, not reception.
That's exactly right.
Anyways, that ball bounced on the turf. That should have been incomplete. So anyways, but that's a fan. That's passion.
That's right.
Come at me with stats and we'll talk, right? I mean,
man.
Until this last Super Bowl, you could make a quasi argument for Cool Joe because of the undefeated record, but at the end of the day, I don't even know if Joe. I mean, no, Joe's actually kind of a cocky guy. So
he came to Kansas City and he wasn't able to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
So
right. And
Brady did what nobody else has done.
In his 40s with the team that didn't even make the playoffs the year before. Let's not forget that. I mean, it's not like you went to a team that they went to the championship game the year before and they were just one piece short. They were
in the middle of the year, people were saying,
right. They might be a playoff team. They might be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I remember those conversations.
Yeah. There's something about that.
The Raiders were locked. The Raiders were locked for the playoffs at that same time, by the way. This is why they play the whole dang season, everybody. Don't get so excited. When your team starts 4-0, don't get too excited. If your team starts 0-4, don't get too depressed. It's a 16-game season and anything can happen.
Well, let me tell you, the Chiefs have had plenty of years where they started 4-0.
Yeah.
Never made the playoffs.
The Raiders the last 2 years started 6-3. 6-3, 2 years in a row. They finished 7-9 and 8-8. After going 6-3.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the Marty Schottenheimer era was rough. That guy was famous.
I love that guy.
He was famous for winning every game. Every game in the regular season.
You should keep him. Hire him back. Andy Reid, good night.
Oh, man.
If you don't like Andy Reid, there's something wrong with you, though. Even as a Raiders fan, I respect it.
He's a good guy.
All right.
Good guy.
Well, we talked football until we're blue in the face, but I don't. We got like 2 people watching now, so we'll say there's not.
I'm telling you, Ira, I draw a crowd, brother.
let me tell you, there's something that'll kill the audience in my network faster than anything. It's Raiders and Chiefs. They just don't care. All right, don't forget to send me the hair tips, Monty. That's the one thing.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be better just sending you some hair.
Yeah, I was gonna do this. I was gonna I thought my kids had one. I was gonna do a spoof for WS Rocks. I don't know if you're familiar with that with Sam Gupta.
Yeah. I know Sam. Yeah.
On Fridays, called the cocktail hour. And I was like, you know what would be funny if one week I show up with a wig. And I told them I was going to try to do it because I thought my kids had one, but then they didn't have one. So I was looking them up on Amazon and stuff. I'm like, you go from like something that's so ridiculous you wouldn't want to wear it to like then they're super expensive.
Yeah.
For like a prop, basically.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you. Have you jumped into the Clubhouse craze?
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm not like most people who it seems like that's where they are all day, every day. Yes. I don't know how those people are making any money, honestly. Like,
I don't either.
If you're on Clubhouse for 8 hours a day, when are you doing your actual work?
Exactly.
You're so busy. So what I'm doing, and you'll appreciate this because you're in the same field as me. So at night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'm sitting here doing design work. I'm editing photos. I've got it on kind of like the AM radio.
Yeah.
I do have a couple shows. So Saturday morning, I do a show with Joe Stepke. In fact, we do the same thing. We go LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So an hour before the show, we're on. It's kind of like our green room. We're just talking to people. It could be about anything, but that's what was the idea. So we've been doing that, and then on Wednesday nights with Matt Crump, who I love, Matt Crump.
Oh yeah, Matt Crump. He's a good guy.
Another believer, cancer survivor. He's got an incredible story. I love his heart. We have a room. It's called Let's Get Naked. A little bit weird until you realize it's like radio and nobody can see you. So it's not about taking your clothes off. And we actually have people who join thinking it's going to be some type of sexy thing. It's nothing like that at all. As I've been married, I'm going on 21 years. We've married 21 years. I'm not here to date anybody but my wife. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Right? No, I think that is a hilarious name.
It's funny, but what we're doing is we actually talk about a lot of the stuff that you and I have been talking about. We talk about being authentic or being real, some of the struggles that people face, imposter syndrome, where you feel inadequate is what that really means. And we talk about that stuff. I'm telling you, Monty, some of the best conversations I've had with folks this past year have been on that Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So I like it. I have not figured out, and you'll again appreciate this, I haven't figured out how to make that work for my clients. Like I can't represent you as a customer there. I'm representing you. And I'm not even really representing Bowman Digital Media. Honestly, I'm representing myself.
Yeah.
Because we are different, in case people haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
So, Ira is not Bowman Digital Media. Bowman Digital Media is not Ira. Now, of course, I have a huge influence because it's my company. But it is not the same. So I haven't figured out how to use Clubhouse to help my clients. If I'd figured that out, then maybe I'll be on there more. But
I haven't either. I haven't either. And quite honestly, I think Clubhouse is going to be one of those things that a bunch of people poured hundreds to thousands of hours into that's going to go away.
Yeah, it might be. And I think for me in LinkedIn, if you're listening, if LinkedIn would turn on the same service, everybody would shift. Clubhouse would disappear. Twitter, I know Twitter's considered it.
Twitter already did it.
Right.
Twitter has it, and soon Instagram will release theirs.
Right.
Once Instagram releases theirs, the Clubhouse is done.
Well, they're done because, like, if LinkedIn, especially if LinkedIn does it, right? So if we're talking about business, and I can log in now. Okay, again, remember what I was talking about. I don't take over your personal business, Bowman Digital Media. I don't take over your personal accounts, so I'm still representing Ira.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm your super admin and I can flip a switch and go like the AM radio, for those of you guys who haven't been on Clubhouse, it's kind of like that. You join these rooms that basically are like channels and you listen to people talk. It's all live. There's no posting. But if I can go into a room and represent now, one of my clients, let's say Joe, the finance guy, for him, as I'm adminning his page, now all of a sudden I got something. Plus, my audience is here. Yeah. And my audience is much larger. I've got like 521, if I remember right. 521 Clubhouse, quote unquote, followers. I follow 920, by the way. I follow many more than follow me. I don't know why people don't follow me back there, but they don't. Whatever. Okay. But on LinkedIn, let's just say, LinkedIn, because that's the one that I would love to have it on. But even if like Bowman Digital Media, I got 3,000, right? Project Health, I got 23,000. Or my personal, right? I've got, or Bowman Coaching, let's say, I've got 4,000 and 4,200. And then I've got, like I said, my personal is almost 200,000. I got plenty of followers, and they're the right followers. They're
That's
not,
right.
you know what I mean? And what I mean by right. I mean the people that the audience I've identified and have built a relationship with. That's what I mean by right. I'm not trying to say
Exactly.
people have less value than others, but no. But some people do have a more commercial value for me because they fit we talked about this. You have one, I have one, a customer profile that if you fit that profile, you're more likely to be somebody that I would want to do business with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I totally agree with you. I think as soon as they, and there's no reason why they can't implement that. I mean, that's to me is a really simple thing.
Bandwidth wouldn't take that much space because we're talking about audio only.
Yeah.
Audio files are pretty small.
Yeah. I mean, they've got stories. So if you've got stories,
I say get rid of stories and go with that.
No kidding. Stories are worthless.
Stories have been a waste of time.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of funny. I personally don't even have stories yet. They haven't even rolled. I sent a message to LinkedIn saying, I think somehow I got skipped. It's been out for like 18 months and I still don't have
it. Well, let me tell you what you've missed.
Nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely nothing.
I have clients who have it. You know what I mean? So I know what it is. I know how it works. And
yeah, they're useless. It was an absolute total. The only thing that's more useless than stories are groups. Oh my God.
Don't get me started. All right, brother. We can't coach here, so Monte, I might have to have you back for a second session, brother.
Dude, I'd love it. Let's do it.
Yeah. And if not, I've got another show too. It's called Industry Interviews by Ira. It's Ida the Third.
Nice.
I might bring you on that one too.
I'm starting mine back up. I'm starting mine back up too, by the way. So I want to have you on it.
Yeah, if you want me to come on, I'm happy to do it. And I might wait until football. I might wait till football season.
You're good. You're good. We'll do it.
Maybe we're good. But see, the problem is, I mean, I hate you. And I don't know if I really want, because like you said, I could say everything I want. You just go scoreboard, and it's like, what am I gonna say?
Well, my shows, I don't do a live show, so you and I can just do a Zoom sometime. I call it in person.
Anytime.
LinkedIn in person. So.
Well, you're part of my inner circle now, bro. So.
Thanks, man.
You can reach out to me anytime. So,
likewise. Appreciate it.
Yep. Happy to help. Whatever you need.
We ought to figure out a way to join up and do this. I mean, there's no reason not to, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anything you want.
Whatever makes sense.
You got an idea? I got an idea. I'm always happy to talk to you.
I'll come up with one. We'll figure it out.
There you go. I got a buddy in town. He's like, can you shoot my photos? Like the family photos. And I'm like, yeah. Can you shoot mine? We'll just trade. He's like, that's brilliant. I'm like, I'm doing that forever. That's the way to do it.
It is.
There's always ways to work together if you want to.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
So.
All right, man.
Hey, thank you.
For everybody who's still watching, for all three of you still watching, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. My name's Ira. This is Monte. If you're not connected to him, get connected. But don't forget to send the message that says, I saw you on Ira's show. You seem like a really cool guy. When you hit connect, I'm not going to send you a sales pitch.
That's right.
And then honor it. Don't spam my friends.
That's right.
Thanks, Monte.
Peace, brother.
BowmanDigitalMedia.com.